I'm gonna show you the difference between a low single handicap golfer, myself as a male player, versus a low single handicap female golfer. So starting off the first hole, I hit a really nice pull cut here, as that's my tendency when I have a stiff body to start off the round. And here we have Grace, and straight off the bat, she's 30 meters in front of the men's, and she put a really good swing, but just pushed it into the trees on the right. This is a par 4, and luckily the fairway is quite big and open, so Grace managed to have a shot here under the trees. And as a good golfer that she is, as the pin is tucked away on the right-hand side with the bunker short, she hits a nice punch shot towards the left side of the green and just comes up short. I'm currently going through 380 swing thoughts and changes, so you'll see a lot of different swings from me this round, but just miscalculated the distance here, and I was just trying to be too cute with this shot and left myself in the bunker. Now, this bunker shot was extremely tricky with my trail foot outside and had no other way than to cut across it, which didn't work out very well and got a bit too steep on the way down, but nonetheless, on the green, putting for a par. Grace tries to lag her putt here, but unfortunately didn't anticipate the big uphill slope and leaves it short. This is me scrambling for a par, and I don't know what the golf gods had in store for me this day, but they were absolutely delivering the goods right from the first hole. I luckily get away with a par on this hole, and Grace just misses the putt and makes the putt coming back for a bogey. I think the biggest difference between a male golfer and a female golfer is the fact that the obvious tee box placement, but more importantly, how consistent they are with all their shots. Because they don't create enough clubhead speed, they focus more on the precise ball striking, and here you'll see that on this par 5, although she had another 40-meter head start, she doesn't try to absolutely send it, which I probably would if my tee box was this in front, but it's the fact that her ball flight is so solid and consistent, slimming down her dispersion. This is the first time she's playing this course, so she thought she may have hit it in the water, but she was actually on the green putting for an eagle. I've also hit a nice shot on the right side of the green, giving myself an eagle putt. The overall game of Grace as a female golfer is not just off the tee or her iron shots. She has a solid short game, which she hit 2 putts here for a birdie, going back down to even par for the day. And here I have a great look at an eagle and just passes the hole, and thankfully I make this putt for a birdie to be 1 under and 1 shot ahead of Grace. Now, I would say I don't usually have a hot start, but at this point I'm just telling myself not to get too hyped up with the score and just focus on my game. We're on the 3rd hole, and this is a short par 4, and normally I would get adrenaline pumping from a hot start that I'd hit a driver, but I decided to just hit a nice 4-iron down the middle of the fairway, leaving myself a great approach shot. Here, Grace is hitting a driver, but to be fair, although hitting a lot shorter, her consistency makes up for this club to be the right choice for her here, because she pumps it but finds herself in the greenside bunker. As you become better and get your handicap down to a low digit, there's not much of a difference in the strength of each game from short game to long game. It's purely the fact that we male golfers have to be able to hit a bit further as the holes are longer, and I hope I don't sound sexist here, but the average driving distance for female golfers on tour is around 260 yards, with top players hitting drives over 270 yards, and as for the male golfers on tour, the average jumps up to 300 yards, with some players consistently hitting it over 320 yards. I'm not suggesting that we get unfair advantage having the holes being longer, but this is the fact, and why the system is designed this way for it to be all fair. We both made a par there, and now we have this 160-ish meter par 3, and I've just pulled this a little to be pin high, and Grace had about 140 meters and hits this beautiful push draw to about 12 feet.
Go. Go.
Good shot, Grace.
Thank you.
I hit a nice lag putt here, and this is one part of the game that I would strongly recommend golfers to work on more. The first thing you should do on the putting green before your round should be understanding the speed of the green by doing a lot of long putts to a hole. You're not always gonna hit your shots and have a tapping gimmies, and yes, the shorter ones are important too, but you're more likely gonna have these 15+ foot putts, so if you can manage to get them within the 3 feet radius, you're gonna have a better chance not 3-putting. We both walk away with a par, and let's move on to the 5th hole. Normally I'd hit a driver here, but the blue tees were quite forward and I was risking myself going into trouble, so I hit a solid 2-iron off the tee that fed off a little bit to the left side of the rough, and Grace just absolutely pumps another drive, splitting the fairway. Now, I know I've only ever really talked about the distance and consistency difference in the game between us, but I don't think there's anything else to it. I really enjoy watching LPGA Tour players, especially players like Nelly Coda, who I mention all the time about how perfect her swing is and how straight she hits it. I mean, it's just so impressive to watch. But then there's also players like Lexi Thompson or Charlie Hole, for example, who absolutely pounds the drives and carries Nelly. Comment below if you enjoy watching LPGA, because I don't personally think that, for example, Scotty Scheffler is a far better golfer than Nelly, but they're both the best players within their categories, and I would happily sit and watch through the entire Solheim Cup or their major tournaments. I think there's so much we can learn from them. Unfortunately, Grace makes a sloppy bogey here, and like I said before guys, work on your lag putts, because look at the difference there. I know I was a lot closer, but I was able to get my putt within a 3-foot length and not make a 3-putt. The biggest killer for us low-digit handicap golfers is having a double or triple on the scorecard. It's pretty hard to come back when you have such a blowout, but you don't let that get in your head and just continue to focus. This is a pretty long par 5, and yeah, Mother Nature couldn't have placed that tree in the worst spot. You either have to cut around it or draw around it. I woke up on a good side of the bed this morning, so decided to bomb a draw around the tree, and fortunately for Grace having the tees about a whole length of par 3 in front of the men's, the tree was not an issue and hits a perfect push draw over the bunker down the middle of the fairway. Now, I don't know what is going on with my swing, but you can really notice that I'm taking the club back really slowly, but all I was trying to do this day was just focus on ball striking, because I wasn't really ready to play a full round with the extreme swing change that I was going through. But I mean, you never try to change anything on the course, so I just tried to ride it out and play a scramble each hole. I tried to use the front edge of the green to release the ball up, as I didn't think the stock high chip was the go here, but I added an extra scoop of protein powder that morning and didn't control the power very well here. However, I come clutch once again with all that lag putting practice and tap in for a par. I didn't even know Grace made a birdie this hole, because she just made it seem so easy, so she's putting for an eagle here, but leaves it a bit too short, and now she needs to make this to get herself back to even par for the round, and she does it. Never in doubt. We're down to the final 3-hole stretch of our round. This is a pretty short par 4 and just got out of balance a little bit at the end, pulling the shot, but actually ended up just left of the fairway, and this is me jokingly getting angry with the shot, but finding out that it's actually pretty good. Gave Grace a few pointers here in terms of aim, as she didn't know how the hole played out, and hits a bad drive but still gets it over the bunker and puts herself in a really good spot on the fairway. Now, I know we talked about consistency with female golfers, but to be fair, Grace hitting the distance that she does, she might as well play off the men's tees. She hit it at the pin, but unfortunately finds herself in the bunker. I had about 80 meters to the pin, which is my go-to number for my pitch shot, so felt really comfortable going into it, and thought I was going to hole out here, but I'm sure the golf gods have other plans for me in the next 2 holes, so we move on. Here is something I'm going to show you that's critical for your mental game.
I'll 3-putt it from there. I'll 3-putt it from there.
This mindset is going to ruin your entire round. Telling yourself this negativity is not going to do you any good. It's okay to get angry, but what you see is what you perceive. Pick yourself up from these mistakes and try to find a positive way to get your head back in the game. If you tell yourself you're going to slice your drive, you probably will. Even if you tell yourself you're going to hold that putt and you miss, at least you committed to your process. Of course, there are heavily skills involved in golf, but I think mental game is, if not more important to you, playing better golf. This was a very short par 3, and Grace makes a great 2-putt for a par here, and I unfortunately misread this par putt and takes myself back to even par for the round with 1 more hole to go. Coming down to the last hole, this is a long par 4 with a hazard in the most awkward position in the middle of the fairway, and we both hit a good drive going over this hazard, as both of our tees were a bit further forward than usual, but otherwise I probably would have hit a 4-iron or 5-iron just short of the hazard. Grace pushed her shot into the bunkers on the right here, and we were actually talking about it that day, that she needs to rotate a bit more through the shot, as it seemed like she was very much into out and also releasing the hands way out right without turning through. We're coming down towards the end of the video, but I hope you enjoyed this style of video, and hopefully this was a good way to show you how Grace as a female golfer plays and myself as a male golfer. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, as it goes a long way for my channel to reach more audience like yourself, and I can keep creating cool content for you. Thank you Grace for coming out to play, and unfortunately I just got you in the 9 holes, so drinks at the clubhouse on you. Thanks guys, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you Grace.
Thank you, Sumpy.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Oh.